Come down, bum first.
So cute.
And they look so nervous.
Let's see. Is anybody here? If anybody is here, please say something in the chat. Okay. Okay, so yes, it appears to be working. Let's see. Let's see. Away. Let's see. This says I have one currently viewing. Whoever you are, hi. If you would be so wonderfully kind as to make your presence known in the chat, I would appreciate it. You will notice my rather janky setup due to the fact that I have effectively no clue what I'm doing. But I guess you will get a little bit of a sneak peek into how making these weird things actually works, because I don't know how to hide it. Oh no. Okay, so, and when I upload this to YouTube later, it's going to be interesting, because apparently I have an error. Oh, It's just that, okay. So yeah, it's just saying that there will be buffering. I honestly can't do anything whatsoever about that. So we're just going to let it happen. So yeah, you guys are definitely lagging a little bit behind me, as you can tell up there. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of like when it does that weird thing where it like multi-screens, but anyway, so I guess I may as well get started, even if we only have theoretically one person. Yeah, if anybody wants to say hi in the chat, please do. Yeah. Okay, so this is the third thing that I've done with Transport Fever 2 and YouTube. The first time I've actually tried doing it live, so yay. So just to fill you guys in on what I've done, since not many people have actually seen my stuff, is the first thing I originally did was I set up some truck lines, one from there to there, one from there to there, and one from there all the way back to my home city way over here. And then I swapped out the longer brick line for a train line, added a train line there, and now I am just getting started on putting in some stuff for ships. So I've got a couple of weird things in my playstyle that you guys might want to know about, or Guy, since it says I only have one viewer. But anyway, I have some weird stuff in my playstyle that you might want to know about. I tend to, firstly, I try to have a single depot of each type and all of it in one little area here in my main city. I also try to not sell vehicles aside from, some of the really early horse-drawn stuff, and especially the steam-based vehicles I try not to sell. I do a sort of preservationist heritage railway weird thing. So, yeah. But I'm also looking to get people from chat to name stuff, so if you have a suggestion for naming anything and it's not too horribly stupid, I will probably do it. So, yeah. But anyway, for now, I was going to be getting in a ship line over on the other side of the map, so I was getting in my harbor here with my ship depot, and I'm going to expand that in the future, but for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. So, yeah. And then we will come over to, let's see, it was, yes, I'm going to be putting in a ship line from there up through to probably there, and hopefully it'll direct connect that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this in. And I'm going to be going straight for large harbors, at least for the cargo, just simply because I prefer to do a bit of future proofing in my builds. So yeah, I feel it is just good practice to do it this way. Yeah, and I also for some reason like to use the city roads when I'm making things that aren't actually going to have cars driving on them. They look prettier. That's literally all it is. But yeah, actually, I realized another thing that I haven't done yet. I like to repave most of the buildings with the white hexagonal tile texture. So at some point, I'm going to be going through and doing that. Not on like everything, but on like my my stations and such. I need to wait for a train to come in before I can afford this, or just take out another loan, which I might do anyway. Yeah, I'll just borrow a bit more. It'll make things a lot quicker. Ooh, the lag is real. Yeah, I'm gonna warn you guys, my computer only is just barely capable of handling this game, like, at all. So, yeah. Yep, there we go. But yeah, so since my computer is actually technically slightly below minimum specs and attempting to run the game and the streaming software at the same time, is certainly doing interesting things to my processing, shall we say. There we go. And that's the line. And then we'll come up here to my depot and we'll check a few ships on it. And that should continue that chain, because I already set up stuff from the... Oh, that's right. Another thing I did in the previous stuff is I set up from those 2 oil wells to the refinery, and then from the refinery to the plastics place. Anyway, let's get another couple of loans. And I think for now I'm only going to bother with like 1 ship, because it's a fairly short line, and I'm not doing a whole lot with the oil stuff yet, although I am going to be upgrading those trains as well. Let's see, hopefully the... Nah. Oh, well. Although, let's see, is it worth putting on one of the Zoroasters? Because, yeah, they do hold a bit more than the Wilhelm. I think I am, because in the end, I'm going to be adding Dunara castles. I find that those are one of the most effective ships because they will hold anything. But for now, I'm just going to oil 2, so using a tanker is acceptable. So I'm going to grab a single Zoroaster and chuck it onto that, which I need to rename the line. So this is, using my naming convention, going to be ship line. I need to go over and check the... So yeah, it's yeah, I consider anything that's not particularly close to a town to be isolated. So this is going to be let's see, yeah. Since this is basically on like a little island with 1 town, I'll consider that as part of it. So I'll say this would be ship... Oh, come on, you. Isolated refinery to Bedford goods factory. Oh, come on. So, isolated refinery to Bedford. Hey, let's see. Goods factory. There we go. So yeah, that's my first little ship line in. And now that we have... Ooh, the lag is real. And now that we have that guy, I'm going to need to start upgrading both of these. So we'll actually want this pulled up and pinned. So, let's see. So, this guy can consume a maximum of 400 right now. 400 crude. So the oil wells line is currently at a rate of 202, so we'll want to about double that rate. And I think the easiest way to do this is actually going to be, because, although actually that, well, let's see, what's the power rating currently like? Mediocre gets up to speed in, yeah, no, we should be able to still run with just one engine with double the capacity. So I think it will go a bit slower though, so I think I'll add 11 cars. So let's go into here and we'll grab that variant of the car. These all function exactly the same, just they look different. They're generic British style cargo wagons of various types. They can hold any cargo, and they're actually pretty good. They're a mod, but I like them because I feel that it's a lot that's actually fairly reasonable to have versatile rolling stock like this. And the easiest way to move that is just going to be to do that. Ooh, okay, so yeah, I'm going to need to get a decent amount more of loan. There we go. This is kind of nice. It does remember what I was doing, unless it says it said it would be poor. But yeah, as the terrain's pretty flat, this is good enough. And let's see, what is your actual rate theoretically now? 425. So yeah, that's more than good enough. And then this dude, I need to get up to a rate of 200. So he's currently at 88, so I need to more than double this guy. So let's get him from 3 to maybe 8. 7 is probably enough, actually. So I need to take out even more loan. Promise it's going to be worth it. There we go. So yeah, these guys are now able to handle the maximum of what that guy's going to be doing. So yeah, that'll be nice. And this will also get him to level up fairly soon too. At which point we can double it again. But anyway, let's see. How far out is our ship? Yeah, so unfortunately, because of the playstyle I like to do, it means that a lot of my vehicles do have to travel a good distance to get to their routes, but I don't know. It seems a little bit more realistic that you wouldn't be, just slapping down manufacturing facilities for vehicles left, right, and center. You'd have to get them to where they're going to be going. So it makes sense that you would, have one set of depots and then transport your vehicles to where they're going, rather than just slap extra depots in. I mean, maybe for like, the road depots, but not for, entire shipyards or rail yards. Or at least that's how I see it. Let's see, so when he finally gets there, he's only going to have a rate of 53, where he'll need, like, around... Oh, fudge, I just realized I can't use the Zoroaster on this route because he's not shipping oil, he's shipping plastic. So we'll have to use one of these guys. So yeah, we'll use the slightly faster one. Oh wow, yeah. Whew. And I thought the game crippled my PC regularly. Jeez. Okay. Well then. But anyway, so this guy is now going to be slowly chugging along around the point. And I don't think I'm going to bother coloring these. A lot of the ships don't look too particularly great colored, but yeah, actually I think that for the for the fact that I'm streaming, I'm going to turn down my autosave frequency. Let's see. Yeah, we'll take this dude up to like 30 minutes because I'd been having I turned it down so low because I was having issues with crashing for a while, but it's gotten a lot stabler since then, so I don't need to keep that autosave interval down low so critically. But anyway, so yeah. You know, I kind of hoped I'd have, more than one person here, but whatever. Yeah, I'd been commenting in the chat of Skystorm's stream tonight. He's doing a Planet Zoo stream, and I commented in the chat that I was going to be doing this immediately after. And it would have been nice if a few more people had gone. I'm hoping to do this fairly regularly, at least during the whole coronavirus thing, because that way just something for people stuck at home to, entertain themselves with. And a lot of the other Transport Fever 2 type people I've noticed seem to be British, and I am in America, and so have an extra, 4 or 5 hours on them to go a bit later with things. So while it's, like late for Sky, it's still fairly early in the evening for me, and so I can go for a few more hours before I have to turn into bed. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, he's getting there, and I'm guessing it's started loading up the dock now that I've got the proper vessel on the route, and it certainly is. He's gonna have a nice full load when he finally does get over there, that's for sure. I wonder if Sky and Picture wound up going over looking at the cute snow leopards on their Planet Zoo stream, because I know that's what they were doing when I left. I could entirely see them winding up going a little bit over time doing that, which, I mean, I get. Just, yeah, I wound up cutting out a little early to actually start this going, so I had to exit out because internet reasons, so for all I know, they're still streaming, and that's why I've gotten nobody. Or it might be that they're done streaming and either nobody noticed or nobody cares. Which, I mean, I get. Most people don't want to, check out a random noob YouTuber who is on his literal first ever public live stream. But, I don't know. Anyway, I've also been trying to do a little bit of training stuff on this city to try and just enough to try and keep emissions down a bit. So, yeah. No, I wonder if there's some place for like new YouTubers who are trying to do the streaming thing to, you know, advertise what they're doing. Yeah, I'm pretty new to the whole YouTube thing from, no, I'm not new to it from the viewing side, but I definitely don't know the tricks of the trade or how to, you know, actively find things well. But yeah, apparently I have one concurrent viewer, and I really hope that it's not registering me as viewing my stream, because if that is, then that means that I am literally alone on the internet, and that is honestly mildly depressing. But, you know, maybe I'll call up one of my friends, have them come check it out, if only to make sure that, you know, I've got the audio quality and stuff set up half decently. Yeah, I'm planning on at some point uh commenting with a super chat in one of Sky's videos that I'm gonna be doing this right after, so that Picture will read it out, and then a decent few people will actually, you know, be aware that this is a thing that's happening. But I don't have my own credit card since I'm, you know, high school student, so I wasn't able to. I'm gonna need to either get one of those prepaid cards or talk one of my parents into doing it for me. So yeah, wasn't happening tonight, but I decided to try doing the whole streaming thing anyway. Figured I'd get, you know, maybe 2 or 3 people. Looks like not even that though, so whatever. Let's see. My ship's finally getting pretty close to its final route, or or at least its route that's going on. It's likely that uh, that it's going to wind up transferred around somewhere else, because I said, especially with the older Steam vehicles, I try to not actually sell them, just shuffle them around. So it's likely that at some point this guy's going to get transferred onto a shorter, less critical line, maybe some sort of like small passenger service or something. But for now, he's going to be going back and forth in there, just taking plastic to that factory over there. Yeah, the reason I'm trying to push goods so early is my main city down here wants goods, so try and supply them. Oop, EU. Probably the biggest issue with the whole lag thing is it will, like, you know, suddenly jump halfway across the map. Yeah, I definitely need a better computer at some point. This sort of thing, as in my graphics card is technically under specs, and apparently the streaming is eating up enough of my CPU that that's struggling as well. Let's see, so it's trying to ship 144 there. I'm guessing I'm gonna need another. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a couple more cars on here. So yeah, it's currently 87. Oop, I'm gonna pull him out and go into the line so I can keep an eye on that. So CSV is currently 87. Then we'll add them one at a time until it's looking a bit better. So let's see. Okay, so each one seems to give me about an 11, so I need to get up to 144. So let's add another 5 more, because it'll only ship more as time goes on. Let's see. Oh, another trick I've found is if you want to recolor most but not all the train, you can select 2 trains like this, and then swap the thing you don't want to recolor in the editor, which costs no money, like that. And then I can select and recolor this train here to make the whole thing that brick color. And then I can grab both trains again and check my brake van back on the rear. So yeah, little trick I've found to leave one car a different color. Yeah, when I get my transport network built up a bit more, I'm actually going to have a train that I just leave permanently in the depot for that purpose. Both storing things and swapping them on for the purpose of keeping them the same color while I repaint the rest. Only thing that doesn't really work for is engines, because the game doesn't like having a engineless train. If it's out of the depot and you make a train engineless, it will actually purchase another engine, or I'm actually not sure. It might actually literally duplicate the engine. I'm honestly not sure of that, but at the very least, it winds up forcing you to buy another engine immediately, just because it won't leave the train unpowered sitting in the middle of nowhere, which, I mean, I get, but I'd still, like to be able to just leave cars parked somewhere. That would both be useful for, just temporarily leaving it sat in the middle of nowhere, but you could also, like, for instance, use a waypoint to drive something into a siding and then transfer the engine off to leave some cars down as scenery. I mean, they cost a bunch of money, but honestly, when you get to towards the end of the game, you can, afford to just eat that sort of stupidly high maintenance cost for scenery. But anyway, for now, I'm going to want to start paying back some of my loan again. Yeah, I like to try and run without too much loan, but anyway. So, yeah, until we get a few more people, I'm just gonna leave you guys riding back behind this train and let some of the cash build up. So, yeah. But yeah, anybody either watching live or watching after the fact, if you have any suggestions, just chuck them in the comments, and I will look at them. Oh, hi, we have a human. This is nice. Hello, human. So yeah, we now have a actual person watching us. So yeah, we'll have our first bout of naming something. This should be interesting. Let's see, this train here is now going to be the Amherst Brick Express. Unless you decide that you want it named something different. But anyway, we've got a couple million here, so we can start to repay some of this. Yeah, at the moment I'm running the... So, yes, our viewer here has decided that he'd like a passenger train, which is fine. I've been meaning to start doing passenger service at some point here anyway. So, yeah. So I will go ahead and I'll leave that named after him because why not? Don't have anybody else to name things, so for now I'm going to head down here and actually hook up a city. So let's see. I'm gonna ask him which of the two closer cities he'd like. One thing that annoys me about the game is so easy to accidentally so yeah, whichever he chooses, we'll get that passenger route put in real quick. Yeah. But yeah, if we wind up going to Middleton, I'm gonna need to do a crossover with the current freight main line because right now it's pretty low traffic, but if I am gonna be... Ooh, yeah, it takes a bit for stuff to catch up. Um, so yeah, I was gonna wait until we got that 77 the whatever it is 777 engine, but I'm perfectly fine with putting in a passenger train with a Jenny Lind for now. So yeah, I'm gonna let the money build up for a little bit before I actually purchase it, but okay. So yeah, we're going to be building our route to Middleton. And yeah, we've, let's see. Yeah, I definitely think that the Jenny Lind is currently the fastest here at 80 kilometers an hour. But let's see. So yeah, I don't really like the 6-wheel carriages, but I'll use them over the early 4 wheels. If we get lucky, the late 4 wheels might crop up before we actually finish getting this line in. And if we're not lucky, then I'll just use the funky looking 6 axles, which is fine. Anyway, yeah. For now, I'm gonna have to take out this little depot connection track. I'm gonna be redoing it to cross over. And at some point here, I'm gonna be putting in a bridge to take the cargo line over both the rail and the road. But for now, I'm just gonna do that, and then I'm gonna chuck in a couple of double slip switches to let the trains get over. And then this is gonna start curving off to Middleton. Okay, so we're gonna zoom out a bit. So yeah, we're gonna wanna do a nice sweeping curve around here. And let's see if tweaking the sorry, my mouse slipped and stupid there we go. Edge scrolling. I wish there was a way to turn off the edge scrolling. Makes things a bit of a pain. Anyway, let's see if we can't get the cheapest possible track here. Yeah, I think that's going to be about best I'm going to do. And then we'll get Middleton Station chucked in. Yeah, and for these smaller outlying towns, I'm not going to be too particularly concerned about the noise pollution, although I am going to try and put the station on the more industry side of the city. I'm also totally fine with, just chucking it straight into the city rather than, actively trying to avoid stuff. I think we're gonna start off with just a nice little short dude, and I think I'm gonna now let's do the terminus and we'll chuck it just, I said, right into the middle. And if I ever do some grooming on the city, I'll make it so the commercial's going around this. But yeah, I'm also gonna have this be 2 cargo tracks and 1 passenger track, because I don't plan on doing much of any point to point. It's all going to be or I guess technically you can consider that point to point, but it's going to all be from various outlying towns going into the hub. So come on, you. So we're going to configure this, and we're going to be putting the cargo thing. Actually, yeah, we're going to put the cargo bit in centered, and then put the passenger platform a little closer to the outside, so I can potentially chuck on some additional buildings on the side to hook into the road there. So yeah, so let's see, we're gonna go with first things first. We need to apparently demolish the buildings first. There we go. And then, yeah. I also like using those fancy green platforms from a mod that I have. So, come on. There you go. And I think we're going to go ahead and put in the little rampy cargo building, both goods access and wheelchair access. And actually, before they build back into that little hole there, I'm going to go ahead and check in a passenger building hooking up to there. So let's see. Is it a medium distance? Oh wait, no, that's the small side buildings. Yeah, I'll definitely need at least a medium to reach over there. Yeah, I'm gonna need to take that building out, but I think it would be worth it. Or let's see if I can't get in a no, first let's see. Yeah, let's see if I can get in a large actually. I might be able to fit it. Barely. Yeah. Nope, that's not happening. I mean, at some point I might level some stuff over there to make room for it, but for now I'm just gonna be taking that dude and chucking him in. Yeah, I'm gonna go over here because I like to overlap like over there a little bit. And so, yeah, and that's a little brick building, and that's not. So then now I'm gonna be putting in a little bus station because no train station in Transport Fever 2 is complete, or no passenger station is complete without its corresponding little bus station or tram. I'm eventually going to be using tram for like pretty literally everything. Let's see if that's the right one to turn off. No, I want to turn off the other one. See, I'm actually going to be putting this right up against the platform in here so that I can expand down that way. Although, first things first, I'm going to chuck on the little steps so that I can make sure to squeeze it in where it will actually go in. But anyway, come on, you. Come on. There we go. And for now, since I don't have it, any decent trams unlocked yet, and I don't have the resources to run my light rail out to Middleton for depot access yet either. I'm just gonna do that and chuck in a little bus route in order to yeah, get this to work. I think I will do the early like horse-drawn streetcars in my the main city, which until somebody actually comes up with a cool name for it, I'm just gonna keep calling it the main city. I think it's like Petersville or something like that right now, but it's going to be renamed at some point. But anyway, and yeah, I'm surprised I haven't done this in my main city yet. I like to repave the area in hexagon tiles, both inside of the thing itself, and you hold down shift and it lets you paint over things. I think I picked that trick up from like GT originally. Grand T, I think is where I originally picked up this trick, but it is really cool because it lets you like repave the fronts of your buildings and stuff, as well as just painting. And so I said like to use it to put in that sort of tile everywhere because I'm just weird like that. So anyway, I'm gonna put in the at least the first little bit of the cargo platform, but I'm not actually going to extend it because this city, even with the passenger traffic, shouldn't be growing too rapidly so as to envelop the station. So yeah, that's all I'm going to bother putting in for now. But eventually it's going to be upgraded a lot more. Auto save. And down here is the rest of the track. So I'm going to hook you up to there. And then let's see, is that the left or the right? I believe that's the right. Yeah, it's the right hand. So ooh, let's hope the left hand can squeeze in. Yes, it does squeeze in through the road there. Awesome. Now that's an interesting little area. But hey, more encouragement for people to not use cars and to use my train track instead. There we go. Oh, my computer is lagging so hard right now. Yeah. I do kind of like the way I do my stations. Because I really like the just the way it all looks when you pave it all in the white tile instead of the asphalt. It just, I feel it looks a lot prettier. So anyway, I'm gonna go back over to the main station, make sure that the turn off to it is good, which I believe it is. Yeah, I've got the stuff already set up there, so I'm gonna go ahead and come here, and I'm just gonna do a yeah, at this point I'm just gonna do a Jenny Lind with like 1 or 2 6-wheel carriages, because I really don't have the stuff to do too much more than that. So let's see. So I'm gonna just do a single first class. I usually do a first class, a few thirds, and then a rear brake, but I'm just gonna do 2 carriages for now, just simply because I don't even have the funds for that. I'm gonna probably don't even have the funds for 1 carriage. Wow, that's impressively pathetic. So yeah, I'm gonna take out another million loan and get this guy his train. And let's see. Let's see if he has any color preference. For now, I'll just do it up in my standard color, but I am more than happy to swap it over to whatever color he wants. So yeah, for now, I'm just gonna do first class and a rear brake because I don't much care for these carriages anyway. So I'm gonna be swapping them out as soon as the next one's unlock. And when I do, I'll add at least 1 more carriage. But for now, we're probably just gonna go for this. I haven't put the line in yet. Of course not. Why would I do anything sensible like that? Okay, so, well, I'm glad you like both stations. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna need to put in signals so he uses the double track, because I'm probably gonna, honestly, I might wind up putting a connection there and just using that as the full connection to that city, because there really isn't going to be too much going out that way. Okay, so say you want to do, you usually like the standard. Yeah, I usually actually do some more oddball colors myself. As in my normal one is an aqua. Is like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna say, yeah, I have a color mod. I usually do see green for passenger. If you want something else, tell me. So yeah, and I'm just gonna do it my normal sea green for now. And so let's go check out your train. Oop. Did it not go on the line yet? Oh, it's paused, no wonder. That would explain it. Yes, that would explain it. So yeah, I actually use, so in the color picker here, I use that color through that color. So all four of those I use for passenger, and that very darkest one I reserve for crude oil. That color I use for passenger. Yeah, if you're interested in, yeah, if he wants a lighter or darker shade, I tend to use this middle one as default. But okay, awesome, Luke. So yeah. So I'll swap out for the four-wheel coaches as soon as they unlock, and when bogey coaches and the 777 come out, I'm probably gonna upgrade the train entirely. I'm gonna move the engine off elsewhere, but I'm gonna keep it around. I'll probably even keep it named after you. Just I'll swap a new guy into his train. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of any rolling stock having more than two wheels and a fixed wheelbase. Or two axles and a fixed wheelbase. Not a big fan. I don't know. I mean, I get it for like engines because it gives distributes the load across more driving wheels with less mechanics. But for rolling stock, I'm just not a big fan. But yeah, you're Jenny Lynn with her nice big single wheel and a couple of six-wheel carriages in the old ultra boxy Victorian style are going to be rattling along for a while. Probably not at much of a profit yet, unfortunately, but when I get a bus route going at each end, it might do a little. Although, actually, I believe this one actually already hooks up to just about everything. Yeah, this one already hooks up to everything, but in the main city, I'm definitely going to need to put in that tram route before I'm going to get anything out of this. So upgrade a tram track, and let's see. So I'm going to want to probably have stop there if it'll get all the way to that. Actually, let's go into buildings, see, can I get all the way? Oh wow, this is way more coverage than I thought it was. So yeah, I'm just gonna have like maybe one there. I'm gonna have one out at the very end of the point. Oop. And then I'm gonna have one in the commercial area somewhere. But yeah, this city is definitely gonna wind up being almost entirely high rises because it's honestly very cramped. So it's definitely going to be a departure from my usual. I usually wind up with pretty sprawling cities in this game, but this one really can't afford to be too sprawling. So yeah, we'll have, let's see if I put one. Oh, actually, let's put one right there, just in front of the harbor area. Let's see, and that does not quite cover all the way out to the point, so I'll put in another one there. Okay, so that'll be, and I have the main thing up there right by the train station. So that'll be the tram route here. So we're going to put in a new line going from there to there to there to there to there and back again. And I also might have, nah, there's no way I'm going to get a bridge over there. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and streets and chuck in the tram track. Lots and lots of tram track. Come on, there you go. Okay, and so I think I'm going to take the, I'm going to take the outer coastal route to get over to here. Come on, there we go. And then along this little bit, and then that little bit, and then we'll tram up this section so you can get around a little easier. There we go. And now we'll grab the, these guys, I'm going to be replacing them with the steam-powered ones as soon as I get them, and then with electrics at some point. Well, I might leave in the steam-powered ones, I don't know, or at least transfer them to some other city, because I'm trying to keep the emissions way down in this city, in my main one. So let's see, so you're only capacity 7, so let's actually get 5. Come on. 5. 5, there you go. So this is the, so we're gonna rename this line. So this is train passenger, and until it's renamed, Petersfield to Middleton. And then this is, I'm going to rename as well. And this is light rail passenger, Petersfield tram. Oh, forgot the space. There we go. And I am going to bucket color these my usual aqua passenger color. And now let's go ahead and grab one of these guys and see how they look. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And actually, it's kind of amusing because if I remember correctly, these are the St. Petersburg tram in my city of Petersfield. So, yeah, they're only in here until I get something a little more powerful than horses to pull my trams around. And then let's repay as much of that loan as we can while we have the money. Yeah, well, yeah. Once one thing that I would love it if they would add is proper stuff to do actual narrow gauge. So with the way Transport Fever 2 is set up, the like I wish that the tram depots were like the train depots, because then you could, pick your motive power, your carriages and everything, and like I've got a couple of mods that expand the trams and give you a bit more in the way of options, but you still can't, swap things out. You still have to have, like there's 3 variants on passenger tram for a certain engine. I'd like to be able to pick, take this carriage and put it on the back of, say, the engine for the Ivan tram, or drag, a mixed consist of several carriages, up and down the mountains and stuff. And even do like mixed gauge stuff with having narrow gauge engines and standard gauge freight cars for, really short little shuttle runs. And the thing about narrow gauge is, like the streets, you can make a much tighter corners on a narrow gauge railway. And I would love to be able to make some of those, tightly turning mountain railways. But I would need, stuff that the game just doesn't support, and I don't even think that you could really mod it in with the game as it stands. But we play within our limitations, and it's still, a plenty fun game, so who am I to complain? But anyway, yeah. I was going to try and play this whole thing on quarter date speed, but until we get some of the engines and rolling stock that I really like, I think I'm going to turn it up to full, or maybe even more than full, I don't know. But I think that I am yeah, because I don't have too much to do right now until we no, here, let's see. So, yeah, we have nobody from Petersfield going to Middleton yet, but pin that up there. We'll grab you. No, you've got 4 people at the moment. Ooh, did I not rename you? So, yeah, when I update this, I'm gonna transfer this train elsewhere and rename it to Amherst's old engine, and then Amherst will get a new engine. So, yep. Ooh, I've got the annoying graphics from that being selected. Okay, there we go. Got the graphics on. So let's pop back in, and we'll scoot back into the cab. Yeah, well, So, yeah, I think I will leave you guys here for just a little bit while the game runs and builds up some money to pay back the debt. So, yeah. Okay, so from the looks of it, we're not getting too many people either direction yet, but we haven't. I don't think we've gotten anyone from Petersfield yet, but we've gotten a somewhat more than half full train from Yep. So yeah, probably without the steam engine though. Okay, so anyway, where'd my mouse? There's my mouse. So, yeah, so I'm gonna come back into here. We're gonna jump out of this. Oh, hey, we're actually getting a few people from Petersfield now. Awesome. Putting the train ins really helped. So, yeah, it hasn't gone too far along, although I'll check and I doubt anything's unlocked. I was only away for like, a couple minutes. Let's see. Let's see. Nope. No generic British carriage four-wheel late, which is what I'm really looking for. The four-wheel earlies look a lot better, but they limit the speed of the train by a decent chunk, and they're slightly smaller capacity. But let's see. Do we have any stations that are overloading yet? Ooh, yeah, we have. Okay, so I need to increase the bricks delivery to Petersfield by a decent bit, and it also looks like I need to increase all of the stuff for the yeah, I have a lot of things I need to increase actually. Okay then, so we're going to jump to there. Yeah, we're gonna take you. Yeah, let's see, what are you trying to? So yeah, you're shipping the full lot, but you are currently set up to ship 320. So yeah, you're gonna need another 80. So you can have 12 cars. So yeah, well, you'll need about another three more ought to do it. And then at that point, this guy will actually be, fully set up. I probably will never modify this train after I put these extra cars on. Just simply because I don't need to. He can just sit here and profitably go back and forth forever. He's on a little spur, so we won't interrupt any of the traffic. Although, what I think I will do is, I'll repaint him too. So, give him the, yeah, it's dark gray for stone. So yeah, there we go. Well, actually, with the color of this stone, I think it's more the 50% than the 75. Yeah, I think I'm going to paint you 50% gray. And then I'll do the steel, the lighter gray. Yeah, just very old style cabless steam engine. I mean, there's a reason they call them generic early British engines. Anyway, so let's see, how much are you shipping that I need to boost that? Although for rate purposes, we'd actually probably be better off putting in a new train. So let's see, you currently have 4, 5, 6 plus 8, so you currently have 14. So let's do 2 trains of 10 now. So yep, we can still get another Jenny Lind. So we'll grab one of those, and we'll chuck 1, 2, 3, 4 more cars from that train, and we'll buy 6 new ones, and then chuck a brake van on the end. Ooh, okay, so yeah, we're gonna need about 3 million to do that. So yeah, let's take some loans again. We'll do that, and we'll go ahead and paint you the nice bricky color too, and then we'll chuck a brake van on the end, because brake vans are important, especially in this where they don't all have individual brakes. Yeah, in the modern day, I don't think we actually use brake vans specifically, but that's because every car is braked, so you don't need to have a single car that's specifically doing the braking for you. Let's see. Now the real question, do you want to go ahead and dump the money into trying to get a rail bridge over that now? Or do I want to just chuck a switch in to, or signal in to hold the passenger trains there and just deal with the delays? I think for now I'm just going to deal with the delays, just simply because, you know, not much point in doing anything more than that at this stage. I mean, I've only got, like, 3 trains that actually use the intersections, so, but as time goes on, I'm going to need a lot more than that. Anyway, once I've gotten this whole area signaled up, I think I'm going to go check in on Amherst's train and see if we need to give him a couple more carriages. So yeah, he's bringing 8 of 14 that way, and we've got nobody sitting on the station. And then let's come up to here, and let's see. Ooh, we've actually got a decent few people waiting on this end, so yeah, I think we will go ahead, because yeah, my usual compliment will be, oh, cool. So yeah, Amherst just commented, yeah. Hopefully someday you will be able to. Yeah, it definitely is, from at least from what I've heard, very different doing steam versus diesel. A lot from what I've heard, it's a lot more difficult, but mostly just different. And there you go. Yeah, you've got a decent bit more train. Yeah, one station was starting to get up to as much as the train could handle up at Petersfield, so I chucked a couple on. I'm still going to be updating it as soon as I can, but in 1867, and I'm guessing it's going to, you know what? No, actually, no point in speeding along. We can keep it going fairly slow until I get that all gone. And I might wind up leaving it run for an hour or two after I'm done streaming here. Now let's see, how is this line doing? Let's follow one of these guys around for a full circuit. So yeah, he's coming in there full, so we'll probably want a couple more vehicles on him. Ooh, you're going out. I don't want you doing that. I want to go into the, not there, into their terminals and swap you to Terminal 2. And let's see. Ah, yes, wonderful. It does exactly what I want now. And for the other one, I'm going to be going through the other terminal, and hopefully it'll be doing the same basic thing. I'm going to go ahead and chuck a couple more of those guys on, because I believe if he's coming in full, that means that, although might have just been that one specifically that was filled up, but adding one more wouldn't hurt. Not if we're actually having folks coming in full. Well, doesn't appear to be actually making money, so probably didn't need another, but still. So let's see. Ooh. Yeah. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. 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 I I know. Get a better workspace for it? Yeah. Dad. Well, I'm like trying to stream right now, so because I'm not using the video camera. But yeah, I don't really do the face camera thing. Nah. Yeah, that was my dad walking in. Don't know how much of his side of the conversation the mic actually picked up. And honestly, in my opinion, at the moment, the less the better. With anyway, yeah, just my dad being my dad. Anyway, yeah, our headquarters is still a bit of a shack, but it'll get better as we do more. Let's check and see if the city needs any reminders of its training. Yeah, we'll want to push the commercial here back a little bit, but other than that... Yeah, that ought to do. So let's see. Oh yeah, it's going to be expanding a lot of the residents. I'm guessing that that entire section back there is going to wind up being the dense buildings, and when we start getting into the modern era, I'm guessing it's going to be a forest of high-rises. Because the residential is definitely a lot more area restricted. And if I'm going to let anything across the bridge and build up over here, it's going to be the industrial and the commercial, because that's right in, you know, the big junction area. And I do not, under any circumstances, want residential up there. Yeah, I might see if I can get the industry to go out in the junction and then have the just residential and commercial on the island. That could be interesting. Yeah, reverse of my usual City Skylines playthrough. I like to take just the industry. Well, actually, it's really the same. I like to take just the industry and isolate it out somewhere. But in this, you don't get pollution, you get noise pollution, which means that it really doesn't matter too much if I have a ton of industry. Although, let's see. Yeah, now that I've picked up the bricks deliveries, I'm probably going to want to actually take these guys and chuck at least a few of them. I've only got 5 on there now, so I'll chuck another 2 onto the Petersfield cargo delivery line. Yeah, I can't wait until I get the cargo trams. Yeah, I've got a cargo trams mod in, but it doesn't unlock Steam passenger trams unlock, and that's the earliest one. So, unfortunately, I have to use the little wagons until that unlocks, but should be happening sometime soon. I don't remember what year that stuff unlocks, but hope it's soon. But yeah, I like the way this depot area has turned out. I might take that out and make it go straight with that. I think it'd look a bit cooler, or a bit neater anyway. So yeah, let's go into here. Grab the Noise City Street there with tram track. Yeah, and that will put, hopefully, enough room there for one more building, which in a city like this is always a good thing. Or almost always. I am going to leave in, you know, odd things like that little wiggle there. Yeah, and as I don't use that road, I think I'm going to upgrade it to be all narrow, which might let a little bit more stuff squeeze in. And in fact, I think I'm going to be going through. Oop, I want no tram track. I guess I'm going to set it to. And I'm going to go through and, except for that one there, anything that doesn't have tram track on it, I'm just going to go ahead and that's an expensive one to do. Let's see if I can get, you know, like part of that to go without. Yeah, this one's only going to remove. Actually, yeah, I'm going to leave that as is. This should. Ooh. 43 buildings will be moved. Jeez. That's a bit nuts. But honestly, not worth it. Let's see. So yeah, I use that, but I don't use that. So, nah. Even just for aesthetics, that one's worth downgrading. And I'm going to see if I can upgrade those two, because I do have vehicles that go around and actually use it. Hey, and I can actually upgrade that whole thing too. That's going to be nice. Yeah, I'm going to leave that small, because I did that a bit intentionally. And I mean, that little tiny small section in the middle of the route just looked kind of weird. There we go. Tightened up there a little bit. There we go. Oh, it's a little nicer. Well, let's see if I can. I think I've. Ooh. Wait, now that I did that, you're no longer. I think I'm gonna. Actually, I'm gonna redo this one so that it is connected up there, but I'm gonna remove those two bits. And then I should be able to squeeze a at least a narrow road through there to get a. Although, actually, since my junction's gonna be there anyway, it's hardly worth it. But anyway, actually, while I'm thinking of it again, I forgot to go in and repave and smooth out and repave this area. So I'm gonna do that now while I'm thinking of it. So yeah, this whole little area in here that's, you know, part of my station complex, I'm just gonna go through and just straight up pave the whole thing in the white hexagonal pavers. I like the way it looks. And the initial buildings will have their parking lots paved over, but whenever they, like, you know, upgrade or whatever, some of the texture underneath of them will, if I remember correctly, become the new building's texture. But even if it doesn't, I kind of like the look of everything in here being, you know, built on the foundation of paving stone. Yeah. I wish I could set it up so that my company headquarters had a clear yard, so that I could, and I know I could. It would be honestly a really simple thing to do with modding, and I probably will figure out how to do it at some point. But for now, I just don't have the time or experience to mess about with it. Like, if I knew what I was doing, I could probably do it in, like, you know, no time at all. And if I had the time, I could probably figure out what I was doing. But as it is, I need one or the other of time and experience, and I have zero. Yeah. And if I ever do figure out how to do that stuff, I'm also going to figure out how to change these to make it so that I can do roads the same way. Have roads that I can, paint on. Wait, no, I don't need that. I want to go paint pools and eraser. I'm going to take the brush size down nice and small. I just trim back that little bit that leaked over the edge. And put in a little more there. Oh, come on. Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a bit more than my computer would really like to have to deal with, but I enjoy the game, and my computer exists to do what I want it to, so doesn't exactly get a say in the matter. But, yeah. This is one of the things that I do intend to do, though. Once my YouTube stuff gets a little bit bigger, I'm probably going to be enabling some of the, like, super chat type stuff. And I'm going to be, just, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and put in some steps along that road, too. So that... Oop, I put a little spot up there. That's fine, I can go in and fix that real quick. There we go. And then back to the tile. I'm not going to bother to go all the way up that side, but I am going to do the area here from where the buildings start. I need to remember to not move my mouse over the touchpad on my laptop, because when I do, it tries to move both with the mouse and with the touchpad sometimes, and makes my computer do strange and interesting things. Yeah. It's interesting when it's both operator error and hardware error at the same time. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm being careful to not completely cover up the ballast around the track there. I find that when you paint around track, unless it's like grass or something that would reasonably grow up over the ballast and you're doing the long grass, it winds up looking a bit weird because you've got the ballasted middle bit, but then it just has that really hard edge there. So I'm actually going to go into the eraser tool and take that back a bit, so that you have the that effect of the gravel spilling over just a little bit. There we go. There, now you've got that sort of area where it's like both paved, but some of the ballast is, spilling out onto the pavement. It's kind of cool. Or not pavement, but paper stone, but still, same difference. Yeah. And one thing that I like to joke about myself whenever I'm playing this game personally is that with all of these, effectively paper slabs this company purchases, it's like the world going into, some sort of a marble crisis from all the world's marble being bought up to provide paver slabs for this one company. But I don't know, I just think it looks, at least, with the early game, it looks way cooler than regular asphalt, because I don't know. When I think of like older roads, I think of like paver roads, like either brick pavers or stone pavers or whatever, rather than like asphalt. And the same for, those big paved areas, like in front of the stations or inside of the depots and stuff. And so it just seems weird to have all of that stuff being asphalt when you built it in the early game, when it's supposed to be, like the 1800s. But anyway, let's see how the line's doing. Yeah, so passenger service is not particularly profitable, and neither are the trams. But yeah, I think we could do to send one of these guys back to the depot. Although I'm gonna let him drop his passenger off at the station first. Unless he's about to pick up a ton of people. Let's see. I know he's about to pick somebody up, so I'm gonna send him to the depot so he doesn't pick up a new passenger. But anyway. So yeah, we got a person there, a couple people there waiting for the tram, probably from the train station. Although they might be coming home from work, who knows. But anyway. Just because there's no real reason to, although it's not going to let me, but because I'm going to chuck in a double slip there too, just in case for some reason I would want to transfer between those tracks. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything, and it doesn't really hurt there. There are times when you don't want to, but for the most part, you can see that the city's already expanded its sidewalks and stuff out onto this bridge. So for too much longer, it's probably going to actually be converting a lot of that stuff into city roads, which means that eventually I probably am going to have at least some of the industry and commercial jumping its way out over to here. And that's going to be interesting. It's almost going to be like managing a like two different cities, because we're going to have the one that's on the island, and then we're going to have random stuff out here. And when it first starts to jump over, it's going to be very mixed. So, but anyway, I think that now that I'm going to get some like proper stuff in, I'm going to go ahead and extend this to a full station, at least on the tracks that I'm actually going to be using early on. Yep, I knew it was going to do that. We're going to I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the actual platform in there, and it's going to really play nice when I do. Yeah, that's the one problem with starting up a station in this way, is that it winds up doing weird things with terminals when you complete it. But it saves you a lot of money in the very early game when you're, first trying to actually put in a station. You just don't have the cash for it, but you still want to, plan out the massive station that you're going to have for the rest of the map. And so you're kind of just a bit stuck. Why did you not put in that bit of platform? Yeah, I can go back in and do it. Yeah. Hopefully I'll start getting more vehicles soon. I really hope that I can get the better carriages and that other passenger engine by the end of this stream. I'd like to give Amherst his finished train before not finished, because I'm still going to be upgrading to the bogie carriages and possibly to one of the even faster steam engines towards the end, or once they unlock, but at least something respectable that will, last a good while. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and get this station chucked in and keep the time running. And I do actually think I'm going to go ahead and chuck it up to 4 times date just until I get some unlock, because I've effectively repaid. Yeah, I should be able to repay my debt now. So yeah, the only real thing I'm waiting on at this point is some decent vehicles. And speak of the devil, so we get the better carriages. Hey Amherst, you are getting your new carriages now. And I believe that the late 4-wheel carriages have the rear brake with the ticket window I like using. And actually, I'm only going to bother with 1 third class. Nope. No, they don't have the ticket until a bogie. Apparently, it's only the one version of bogie carriage that has the rear brake with the ducket, which is weird because actually the only railway that I specifically know of that has done that sort of a setup is actually the Lynn Railway. It's a tiny little narrow gauge railway in Wales, and they had a ticket window like that fitted on their brake van. They were actually the world's preserved railway and never actually fully closed down, which is really impressive. They had their 150th anniversary a couple years back. So yeah, they are an impressively historic railway. They actually still have all or almost all of the original 150-year-old rolling stock in operation. A lot of the cargo wagons aren't, but the original passenger stock and the 2 engines are still operational. And aside from the passenger brake van, they've been, obviously repaired and stuff, but they're still in fairly their original state. And they've had some other stock that they've purchased over the years, but the original stuff is still around, so that's cool. But anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. gonna go ahead and follow the train for a little bit and wait for maybe a couple other things to unlock while the money builds up so I can put in the next line. Because I don't think I want to really bother with any of the other cargo lines until I have the next train up. Because that 777 I was talking about, it can get up to a little over 100 kilometers an hour, which is slightly more than what the trucks can handle. So you get the best benefit out of engines that big and up. Yeah, even the 80-kilometer-hour engines that are intended for the actually aren't quite fast enough. They're the same speed as this one, the Jenny Lynn. So, the fact that, you know, a lot of these mods are a bit quicker. But, I don't know. I do kind of dislike the pricing system that the game has. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like being able to afford to put things like the passenger engines onto cargo trains, but it winds up just seeming a bit unrealistic that you can run those faster engines just as cheaply as one of the same power that are slower. Okay, so now we're starting to get some new stuff. We're getting new horse carriages, which I think I'm going to go ahead and update my cargo delivery lines real quick. Well, actually, no, I think I'll actually go ahead and leave. No, the other bricks line, the braiding brickworks to braiding line. This guy is probably going to need to be, so he has a rate of 208 now, and only needs to have a rate of like 106. So yeah, that's way overkill, and it'll be even more overkill with the other stuff. So I think literally just here. But let's sell all but the first 10, and then those ones will upgrade to the and the newer, bigger, quicker vehicles. That's a nice thing in one of the recent updates. They now keep the color when you upgrade your vehicles. So instead of like turning back to the generic off-white color that these guys usually are, they're still the nice brick red. Or red-orange. But so anyway, we got like 2 million in the bank, so even if I'm not going to be actually purchasing the trains, I can start roughing out the track for the next thing. So I'm going to want to try and rush goods, which means I'm going to need steel. So let's see. So there's there's the coal, there's the iron, there's the steel. So yeah, I'm probably going to have like one line. I'm going to probably do a single train that's going to pick up both coals, and then I'm going to have a couple of trains for the iron. Well, I could set up one to grab 50% from each, which is something that you can do with some of the new features, but we can build up 50% on coal here. Actually, I think I'm going to try and do that, get one train picking up everything there. Worst I can do is fail horribly. Let's go into the cargo buildings. One of the benefits about using the regular stations instead of the terminuses is you can make them long and your short trains won't pull all the way to the end. They'll just pull into the station. This guy's going to need to be at 2 tracks, but I'm going to make him bigger when he needs to be, because right now we're just going to be dropping off. Okay, so we're going to want this one flipped around the other way. Let's get you. Come on. Let's stop trying to do this from, zoomed all the way out and actually zoom in and there we go. That'll do. So yeah, those guys I put in mostly just for aesthetic stuff, and I only really ever use those on short hauls. I mean, they're cool little engines, but I only really ever use the faster engines in my actual stuff because I don't like having to replace engines as you get bigger and better things. And so I like to try and start off with engines that I'm not going to have to replace. And that means that a lot of those smaller engines, I don't get much use out of them. Or at least not for my play style. Anyway, I'm definitely going to have a short little truck shuttle route here. So let's get the truck stuff in first. I might wind up doing 2 of them, but yeah. I'm not going to try and cheese it quite that much, but yeah. One thing you can do with this sort of thing, because of how, little extra distance you actually need to move the stuff, you can literally put in a station there, swap the sides, and put one in literally right next to it, so that it's effectively one thing like that. And then just you go in and you put it so that you can then exit and enter the other way, and then you literally just make a single little itty bitty loop there. And even if you're only using like the let's see what all we get. Okay, so we get the faster generic British engines and the Dunar Castle, which is one of my favorite ships to use in the game. Yeah, I've got some modded ships, but for some reason even the sailing ships in the mod don't actually become available for ages, so I don't know. I might never actually wind up using those modded ships, but I just really wanted some nice sailing ships, stuck the mod in, and then realized afterwards that they don't unlock until like 19 something, which seems kind of stupid. Like, that's when sailing ships were on their way out, not when the first ones were used for shipping, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't put this guy in so that he can hook up to both that other station and this thing, although if he can't, then I'm gonna have to, which I don't think I'm gonna be able to. I'm gonna have to do another little short shuttle-y thing, which is fine. So I'll put him here, and back into here. And chuck in Come on. One, and then swap sides, and then chuck in the other. These guys wound up being a little bit more separated, but it's not going to have any real significant effect on the efficiency here. It just needs to be able to have just a fairly short little line there that you can put, you know, just 3 or 4 little trucks of some sort on. Straight out of there, so we can get a nice sweeping little curve. This is going to wind up looking funky. The mouse jumped a little and skewed it. It'll still work. Not everything comes out super neat and tidy, especially not in the real world, so. You know, we're going to put in these 2 little lines. Looks like I'm going to have to put in a waypoint to get them to do the loop thing properly. Or I could just take out... No, I can... Okay. So, anyway, I'm going to grab that and... Petersfield Annex, you are going to make a nice little loop. Hey, we have a second actual human! Wow! Okay, so... Yeah, this is my first ever time live streaming Transport Fever 2. I've got a few other little things that are on my channel as pre-recorded, but aside from that, I mean, I've only actually started doing the YouTube thing this week, although I've been planning it out for a while. But anyway, what we're working on right now is I'm starting to get the infrastructure set up for steel production. So yeah, yeah, this is a little trick I've found when you want to hook up to multiple things and they're just slightly too far apart to put a station in the middle. You can do little transfers like this that aren't very difficult, don't take up too much running cost on the vehicles themselves, but will just jump it to leapfrog out the distance a little bit. Effectively, think of it like you're, instead of actually doing major transport there, you're just oh, awesome! We just got the steam trams. So these guys make me very happy because this means I can go into here and say goodbye to the stupid little horse and carts running around my main city. So we're gonna... Oh, thank you, Emrys. Thank you very much. So apparently he passed the word on to Discord that... Oh wow, I actually hit the enter instead of shift, so that's interesting. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to get rid of those guys and buy a few cargo trams, because everything's better with trams. Or at least with rail. But anyway, so we're gonna grab... Yeah, we're gonna do 3 for now, I think. If it loads. There we go. So we're gonna grab 3, and we want all except for that one. And these guys are going to go onto there, which now needs to be renamed because it is no longer a road line. It is now light rail. And oh, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna want to upgrade that little dude so that they can actually go around in a loop. And I'm gonna upgrade it to... No, actually, no, I'm not. Well, let's see. Oh, and I have electric tram tracks, so I'm going to go ahead and start with that because I plan on eventually swapping my main city over to all electric, although my steam trams, I'm still going to use them. I'm just going to move them over to one of the smaller cities where the emissions won't mess up the game as much. Yeah, so Amber, you weren't here for the beginning when I was re-explaining some of this stuff, but with my playstyle, I like to have a single main city where I'm putting in like all my depots and my headquarters and all that cool stuff. And I like to try and get that city to be as big as physically possible. And so keeping the emissions in that city way down is a major priority. So yeah, anyway, while I'm going at it, I'm going to go ahead and actually sell off most of these guys because I can, or no, I'm not going to sell all of them. I'm going to sell off maybe 3. And then I'm going to replace these other 2 with the, yeah, because I have the variants, which lets me get a much bigger one that has capacity of 33. And that's more than enough to keep this line going for a good long while. So yeah. And now that I'm starting to actually get some of the vehicles I like using, I'm going to turn the date speed back down to normal. Because I don't want the days to just fly by, but I did want to get to the point where I could actually do some of the stuff I wanted to. So anyway, now that we've done that, and now that we have the actual good trams, I think I'm going to start expanding out my light rail. So I'm going to go ahead and place effectively depot access for light rail out into the countryside, and then set up these lines because I'll bet you like maybe 2 cargo trams will be enough for doing that whole line, whereas it would take like 3 or 4 regular vehicles. There you go. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go grab a couple of more cargo trams and chuck them out there to, no, I didn't want the road, I want the tram depot. So, and you can go away because I no longer need the horse-drawn trams. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab the cargo tram, and we're going to buy, let's start with 2 of these guys, and we'll chuck 1 onto each of those. So yeah, there we go. And while those guys make their way out there, I'm going to get the train line set up. Yeah, I'm hoping that by the time I finish up with this train track, with laying this track, the one of the modded engines I have will unlock. It's got a decent speed, and the modded freight cars that I mainly use also have a pretty decent speed. So I like to wait until I have that engine unlocked before I do, too much. Okay, so I'm going to want to go this way. Or, oh wait, no, I was planning on extending this station anyway. So yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to be keeping this as a single train or as multiple different lines. So I'm going to have transit tracks and then my main platforms all on the right-hand side, so that they can have so I can fairly easily update it to have trains ducking in and out if I decide to swap it over so that we have multiple different lines handling this. Well, at the start, I'm planning on having just the one. Anyway. if this works the way I'm hoping it will, I'm gonna have these trains are gonna be pretty long, so. Come on, place in there, won't ya? There you go. Yeah. And no, this lag is not because I have, a bunch of lag causing things in or because I'm using an older version. This is just because my ooh. That is actually a very good question, Emrys. I'm playing on a map that uses the European textures, but the tropical island generation, and I have vehicles set to all. Yeah, this is some of the weird stuff I was experimenting with. It's in the same panel as the stuff for doing mods. And I originally did it, I was just looking for a way to turn on all of the vehicles before I started actually messing with mods. And I realized that in it you can actually customize which like plants and stuff you're using. And so I've set it so that the trees and the textures are the temperate, but I have the island generation. So it's sort of like, I guess the UK or something, the islands, but it's not, a tropical island. It's just a, cold European island, I guess. But I don't know. I like it. I think it makes for a cool map. I mean, a lot of people think that the tropical island ones are the most beautiful, but I don't know. I like the look of the temperate textures. It puts that like grassy stuff in the bottoms of lakes and everything, or on the seabed and stuff. Like I like the way that looks more than the white sands do. Weak by the corner of that. Oh, you didn't cap right. Okay, so, but yeah. Yeah, right now I'm gonna go ahead and get this dude hooked up, and he slows down a bit, but he actually stays above 96 the entire time, which means that he is going to be going at least as fast as the train at all points. Yeah, let's bring this up a bit to where it's a little less expensive. Loading, 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 load. So yeah, I think that's the best we're gonna do. And then we'll double track it. And then we'll put in the turn off for the station there. Come on, wrong side. Why are you being annoying? There we go. But yeah, I definitely have a pretty different play style and a pretty different visual preference to Sky and GT, which honestly is good because it means that I have a unique play style that some people will enjoy watching, and it's not just, Skystorm, but a complete noob who doesn't know what he's doing. Anyway. Amos is asking if I have any extra trains via mods, which is mildly amusing because I have a absolute bloody ton. So even here, yeah, I actually have put a lot of time into just browsing the thing and finding a bunch of cool moddy stuff. And if I can manage to not type into the box instead of working the controls. So I'm just going to go into there and just look at some of the ones that I have. So even in like all the way back in 1879 here, the Jenny Lind here is modded, and it comes in a couple variants. So initially it had just the forward and forward with weatherboards, and then it came out with reversed ones at some point. I don't really know when. Then there's the generic early British engines, which have a few tank engines and tender engines that are just, as the name speaks for itself, they're just really generic engines. But they're useful, they're nice, they're small. Then I've grabbed the E1s. I would have preferred E2s, but I like them because I'm actually a bit of a Thomas fan. And then we have already a few different variants of these. Also, bogie coaches in the same style come out later. And then I have these generic British brake vans and generic British open wagons. And then in this series, I don't have the Great Western open wagons, but when they unlock, I will have the Great Western brake van. And then I also have like 2 more engines and a couple of other things. Plus, a lot of my mods are also in trams. So they're not like anything really weird, but I've got vanilla variants, which allows for longer and shorter variants of trams. So basically, any tram that has coaches will have, or like multiple cars, will have a variant with 1 car, 2 cars, and 3 cars, even though they usually come with either only 1 or only 2. And then I have another one that's got cargo trams, which is what these guys over here are. I'll bet you there are Belgian or Dutch trains in the workshop. Actually, you know, since I'm doing this weird thing where I have multiple tabs open, I can pause this over here and actually see, because I'll bet you there are Belgian trains in the workshop. So, oh wait, why am I doing it through here? I should be able to just do it through transport view. Well, I'll check at some point, but I will, yeah, I will look for some after the stream. But yeah, I bet you there's at least a few on the workshop. I will bet you. Although actually, let's see. For some reason, my brain is saying that one of the earliest let's see. I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking one of the German ones said that it was built. I know that one's Spanish. No, those are German. I don't know. It might. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there will be some in the workshop, and if there aren't, there will be soon. I mean, there probably aren't any vanilla, but I would be more surprised if there wasn't any Belgium or Dutch trains in the workshop than if there were. So anyway, oh yeah, I paused it. So let's unpause. Let things start running again. Anyway, ooh, yeah, I need to put a few more of these dudes on apparently. Or if I want to dump the money in, I could run. No, I don't think I'm going to swap this over to cargo trams yet. It's a bit too far away to bother putting in depot access for tram. Oh, I don't want everything. I just want like 3. Hey, Amos, don't worry about it. It's not just for you, although I will say I am perfectly happy to cater to my viewers, but more trains is always a better thing. Yeah. Especially if I can find some Belgium or Dutch steam engines. But if I find some diesel, I'll probably put them in because I don't have any diesel or electric mods in yet, and so after the steam era is over, it's gonna wind up with practically nothing available. So yeah, and I'm also hoping that somebody's gonna have a mod for cargo flats, something that works similar to the cars I use here, but a bit faster and bigger, and with the like modern cargo flat texture. Because like these guys are cool, and I like these cars, and they're really awesome, and they're really useful too. But they would look kind of dumb behind a large modern diesel. But if I mean, I'm not going to get rid of any of the ones I've already bought. But if somebody has a mod for cargo flats, I will certainly be adding that to my collection. Now it looks like the stone train needs to be even bigger, because he's shipping 400 and this guy has a rate of 380. Actually, I'm not going to. Oh, you didn't mean to. I manage vehicles, but rather than making the train longer, I'm going to stick another engine on the back. So I'm gonna grab. I think I'm gonna. Oh, yep, we do have the 060 saddle tank. This guy's a nice one. I like saddle tanks. Oh wait, no, wasn't done. If I can manage to keep control of myself, I'm gonna take you and actually, let's see if anyone wants to suggest a color. Yeah, it's more interesting if you have a new engine that you're sticking on a different color. If I go in and recolor the line at some point, I'll probably color this engine too, but as it is, if either of you want to suggest me a color, I will go ahead and have an interesting colored engine on the back. So yeah, it's going to be a little 060 side tank, or saddle tank. This is one of my favorites out of the early generic British engine set. It's a little quicker than the very oldest stuff, but not super quick. But it looks nice, and it actually got a cab, which I like. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay. Yeah, even on my screen, I actually have the tab over here, and so you can actually see that is like almost a minute behind. But yeah, I mean, here just to show, we'll get out of this screen 1000, 2, 1003, 1004, 1005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, we're like 20 or 30 seconds in lag even with that. Amber, if you want a Thomas... So apparently the back engine is going to be Thomas, which is honestly perfect because the I don't have an E2, but I have an E1, which is effectively Victorian Thomas. So yes, I will absolutely modify this train such that the engine on the back is Victorian Thomas. So we're not going to do the reversed for him, although we could. But yes, you are going to have Thomas as, and actually I'm even going to make Thomas be the front engine, and the older generic guy can be the back. Yeah, and I think I don't have an A1 in yet, actually. Yeah, actually, if you want to talk, Amber, once this catches up, let me know if you have audio on, because then I can just talk to you instead of having to worry about repeating myself in chat. But yeah, I actually know quite a lot of stuff on Thomas. So, oh wait, no, got to make it blue. Oh, what an idiot I am. That's probably the best Thomas blue. But anyway, I actually know a decent bit on Thomas. So Gordon, according to Wilbert Audrey Cannon, is actually the experimental prototype of the British A1 locomotive. And I said, according to official Audrey Cannon in universe, the way they actually acquired Gordon was as a basically he was prototype, and because he was only the prototype, he wasn't as good as the actual A1s. So Gressley never wanted to actually put Gordon into service, and so the Sodor Railway was able to get him really cheap. Yeah, Thomas, Gordon, Edward, and Henry all have similar stories. Just gonna check. Are you listening to the audio, or am I talking about Thomas lore to nobody? But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and rename this. Fine. If you make it quick. Nice. Yep, Mom was showing me a quick picture of my grandparents and had sent us of their dog. But anyway, so for back to the Thomas lore. So as well as Gordon, Thomas and Edward actually have even more interesting stories. So both of them, I believe, during World War II was when they were acquired. So Edward, oh wonderful! I got the bogey coaches. So anyway, so Edward was originally a Sharp locomotive. I don't remember the railway it was from. I'd have to look it up again. But anyway, so while Edward was originally that sort of locomotive, by the time he actually came to Sodor, he was effectively a hodgepodge. So they actually wound up selling Edward to the Northwestern Railway because they literally he was only still in service because of the desperate need for motive power during the World War, and so they actually sold him to the Northwestern Railway for really cheap. And then Thomas was actually somewhat similarly acquired, although rather than being obsolete, Thomas was actually originally sold to the Northwestern Railway because of a paperwork issue. He'd actually been written off by his owning company as having been destroyed during the war. And when it was discovered that he, was still fine, they literally sold him to the Northwestern Railway to avoid the paperwork of relisting him as still being in existence. I'm not even joking. It's all in a book by Wilbert Awdry called The Island of Sodor, Its People, History, and Railways. Henry also has an interesting similar story. So Henry was actually built off of stolen plans for Gordon, but they were an older version that was honestly really terrible. Like literally, that the whole thing with Henry being a bad steamer early on was based on the fact that he was originally built off of effectively a screwed up, stolen design for Gordon, the A1 prototype. And because of that, that's why he was such a bad steamer in the first series before he was rebuilt. And it's and in the like lore extension stuff, it was said that the first Sir Topham Hatt actually never got over being ripped off on Henry. But anyway, after the accident with the flying kipper, he was sent to be rebuilt, and he was rebuilt by anyway, he was rebuilt by the guy who designed the Black 5 locomotive, and mainly rebuilt to be that. But yeah, I kind of agree, although to me that just speaks of just modern bureaucracy in general. Like, to me, it's not even so much sad as much because, like, let's face it, what's much sadder is the fact that most of the E2s were scrapped after a long service. But it was basically okay, we have somebody who actively wants this locomotive, and it was literally just a matter of, the Northwestern Railway was in desperate need of motive power. Like, at that point in time, it's stated in the lore that there are a lot of engines that were never discussed by Awdry. Like, I think he actually said that as of the writing of the like lore book, there were like 60 or 70 engines on Sodor, of which only like a dozen or so had ever been brought up at that time. But the actual specifically recorded rolling stock at the time of Thomas and Edward first being purchased for the railway was 3 upright boiler locomotives. Were actually originally designed by the first Sir Topham Hatt himself. So in the lore, the first Sir Topham Hatt was actually good friends with Sir Nigel Gressley, the person who invented Gordon and the other similar classes. And he actually designed and built a small class. I know that it was actually based very strongly off of a real island, and Awdry went to excruciating pain to make sure that all of the lore was realistic and properly integrated into real history. Actually, yeah, it actually it matches up to a real island in Britain, but only half of Sodor is actually there in the real landmass. Like, the island of Sodor is much larger than the actual island it was loosely based off of, but it is very much based off of a real place, though. Anyway, but yeah, but I said though, this is one of the things that bothers me about a lot of the modern Thomas stuff is like, Awdry went to such great lengths to make a truly awe-inspiringly realistic alternate history for the island of Sodor. Like, he went through every single detail, and then in the modern stuff, they just kind of ignore all of that. Like, they actually completely ignore the fact that there have been at least 3 Sir Topham hats, and by this point, there probably would have been 4 Sir Topham hats. But as well as that, there's also the fact that a lot of the actual written lore on the engines is ignored. There's a lot of official characters that the Audreys came up with that have never been seen in the TV shows and stuff, despite the fact that they're adding more characters left, right, and center. I mean, I have no problem with the additional characters. I've actually gone back in and watched some of the new stuff, especially... Oh, the specific book I'm talking of, I have a PDF bookmark or on my desktop, which is too much. I'm not going to show you my desktop because that's like the messy teenager I am showing you my room. My desktop is about as bad, but the book is called The Island of Sodor. It's People, History, and Railways. It's actually very, very hard to find a copy. They only printed a couple hundred, and I literally spent... Here, just a moment. I am going to, yeah, I like... If you want some modern Thomas stuff that wasn't butchered, around season 20, oh, that's not what I want. Around season 20, I believe, one of the people who had done Thomas with Brett Alcroft, one of the original story writers for the TV series, took over. And he actually used the new animated medium to do some of the original stories that Wilbur Awdry had written, the Reverend Wilbur Awdry. He did the stories based on the Little Railway, because in the filmed TV series, they actually couldn't, they didn't have the technology to make models that small. But in the animated series, it was easy. But anyway, yeah, actually, just entirely for the purpose of this, I downloaded a copy and I re-uploaded it for the purpose of sharing it with other Thomas fans online. But this book, it's interesting. It has what I would call an interesting structure to it that I've only ever seen in pseudo nonfiction of this period. So rather than any of the normal methods of storing a story, like following characters or following a chronological narrative, if I scroll down to let's see, if I scroll down to the table of contents here, so it has like the discovery of Sodor, but then it sorts most of it by places. So it goes into like each individual line and then describes based on that, which makes it actually very hard to track the narrative that's contained. But I'm guessing the section you guys will be the most interested in, and the thing that I enjoyed the most, is part 4, locomotives, and part 3, people and history. So part 3 goes into like the various Sir Topham hats and all of that. Parts 1 and 2 are like basically the only author I know of who went more in depth into his world lore is J.R.R. Tolkien. And Tolkien's Silmarillion is actually the only book I can think of that's even close to a comparison to this. I mean, I find this more interesting than the Silmarillion, but it's that similar text. But anyway, I did sharing stuff with this, so share. It's set to anyone with the link can view this file. So I'm going to chuck this link in the chat here and save you guys these several hours of scouring the internet for a copy of this. I literally spent, a couple of weeks one summer digging through the internet to find a copy of this book that hadn't been blocked. But there are, in all of the world's public libraries, there are 5 copies of this book in all of the public libraries in the world. Only one of those is in America, and it's in a library in a college in Chicago. But Yeah, in general, though, this book is just completely inaccessible, aside from extremely rare and valuable signed copies. Just simply because they printed, I think, like a couple hundred of the original hardback and then a couple hundred of a paperback version, and that was it ever. You are very welcome. I said, anyone who is truly interested in Thomas lore will love this book. And anyone who is not truly interested in Thomas lore would never want to touch it. It's not generally interesting. It's only interesting if you are a dedicated Thomas fan. And actually, for those of you who are dedicated Thomas fans, do you guys know anything about the Tally-Lin Railway? Because that's actually one that I've done a little bit of specializing in myself. I've done a couple of school history projects on it. Because the Tally-Lin Railway is actually directly the inspiration for the Skarloey Railway. And an interesting thing about Wilbert Awdry, so the first book on the narrow gauge railway, the Skarloey Railway, all of the stories in it are completely real. Like, most of his stories, he takes inspiration from real events. But in the first book going into the Skarloey Railway, every single thing in that story was completely real. And a lot of the biggest things in it, like leaving the refreshment lady behind, guess who was the poor driver who was dumb enough to forget the refreshment lady? Wilbert Awdry himself. Wilbert Awdry on the footplate of the locomotive, Edward Thomas was the name of the real locomotive. Peter Sam in the book was the one who actually left behind the refreshment lady, which I've always found kind of interesting. And this is another pet peeve of mine about the both the old and new TV series is Peter Sam's funnel. So Peter Sam's special funnel that he got is an interesting thing called a Geisel injector. So it was invented by a guy, I think his name was Theodore Geisel, but it was designed to improve the efficiency of steam engines. It never really caught on with British railways. But he got a few versions of his Geisel injector tested, and one of the engines that tested out the Geisel injector was Edward Thomas of the Tally-Lin Railway, because they were restoring Edward Thomas, and being the newest of their engines, Edward Thomas and Sir Hayden were the two engines of theirs that were purchased from the neighboring defunct Corus Railway. And Edward Thomas was actually, at that time, a fairly modern engine. Like, in fact, Tom Rault, one of the main original founders of the Tally-Lin Railway Preservation Society, was actually a member of the firm that built Edward Thomas when that locomotive was originally being built. So he actually, in his book, which I also have a copy of, called Railway Adventure, he actually goes into discussing how he was there when Edward Thomas was being manufactured, and he'd actually fought to get a job going to do some maintenance on Edward Thomas when it was owned by the Corus Railway. The Corus Railway didn't actually name their engines, but anyway, though, but at that point, Edward Thomas was a modified tattoo class locomotive, and so that's what it was nicknamed. And Sir Hayden at that point had no name, but was nicknamed Falcon after after its manufacturing company. And Stewart came from the name of the manufacturing company that I think was Kerr, Stewart and Co. I could look it up in the book. It's like literally arm's reach, but I don't think you guys want me taking the time to pull it out and flip through it. But anyway, but that's actually where the original names of Sir Handel and Peter Sam came from, is the manufacturing companies that originally made Sir Hayden and Edward Thomas. So, yeah. And another one that peeves me about the show, and I could go on for days about things that peeve me about the show, is that they never bothered to bring in an interesting locomotive named Ivo Hugh. So, Ivo Hugh is honestly has a bit of a dear spot in my heart. He never actually showed up in any serious stories. The only story that Ivo Hugh has is the story in which he is named. But Ivo Hugh, like the other Skarloey Railway engines, is directly based upon a real Talley-Lin Railway engine. Yes, I do know a lot about Thomas. Mostly I know a lot about the Skarloey Railway because I have done multiple history projects for school on the Talley-Lin Railway, and through that I have learned Talley-Lin Railway in the context of Thomas the Tank Engine. But yeah, I once saw a thing basically talking about what topics could you give a 10-minute or a 2-hour lecture on with 10 minutes of preparation, and Thomas the Tank Engine lore is one of the few things that I could think of that I could do that with. But anyway, so Ivo Hugh was based on a real locomotive named Tom Ralt, and Tom Ralt is the only custom-built locomotive of the Talley-Lin Railway. So the other locomotives they had were pre-done, and they just modified them to work on the 2-foot 3-inch gauge. Technically 2-foot 3-inch and a quarter, because the Dalgok, the locomotive responsible for Aeneas, is a bit of an interesting old lady, as they nickname her. So Dalgok actually has what is frequently referred to as a peculiar motion, the custom patent of Fletcher Jennings and Co. So Welsh. I am American. I have never heard the proper Welsh pronunciation, but it is spelled Dolgoch, named after a river and waterfall that goes under the line. But anyway, so Dalgok's peculiar motion involved, along with other things, basically Dalgok was when but steam engines were still being improved upon, and when narrow gauge steam. Oh no, yes, Skarloey Railway is a narrow gauge railway. It is the same exact 2-foot 3-inch gauge as the Talley-Lin Railway is. Yes, Skarloey is a narrow gauge railway. It is approximately half of the standard gauge. But anyway, so one interesting aspect of Dalgok's peculiar motion was designed to do two things. Well, one thing really. They wanted to put all the weight on the driving wheel. So if you ever look at Dalgok, the wheels are all the way to either end. So in most engines of that time, the wheels are very close to the middle. Yeah. So in most engines of that time, the wheels are very close to the middle and they have a very short wheelbase. But Dalgok was specifically designed to be the opposite of that. So Dalgok actually has a stupidly long wheelbase. But in order to do that, they had some issues with routing the motion because it had to go like underneath the engine, and they invented a specific motion to work the valves on the pistons off of an axle other than the driving axle, because they had to drive the back axle but work the pistons off of the front axle. And because of this, Dalgok actually has as well as the other peculiar motion that makes it, a bloody pain to work on and is the bane of all Talley-Lin mechanics since the beginning of time. But Dalgok also has particularly long crank pins for the size of her wheels. And this was actually complained about by the original inspector of the line. Dolgoch was prone to significant horizontal oscillation, as he phrased it. And because of this horizontal oscillation, as well as the deteriorating, basically, because of this, the Tallylin was actually forced to run effectively their entire line slightly over gauge. I don't think it's 4'3". I think it's like 4'8" and a little bit. I think it comes out to be like 4'8" and a little bit, but yeah. The thing is, the gauge on the Tallylin is not too exact, so you could absolutely claim that it is half of standard gauge, and you'd be about right. Like if you took standard gauge, except okay, so my streaming stuff just disconnected for a bit. Okay, we appear to be back on. Anyway, so Tallylin Railway and being over gauge. So because of how old and poorly kept the line was, the rails were actually held more in place by the grass growing up through the ballast than by the actual, fastenings that were supposed to hold them in place. And between that and Dolgoch's horizontal oscillation, the entire line was very over gauge. And Sir Hayden was actually built very slightly under gauge. So because of the fact that Sir Hayden was under gauge and the rest of the line was over gauge, combined with the small rear wheel set, Sir Hayden was notorious for slipping between the tracks, which inspired incidentally, the story in the Thomas books going into Sir Hayden refusing to work by settling down between the rails, or Sir Handle in that case. And speaking of which, the naming of the engines actually, yeah, I thought it was 4'8½". There you go. I was right. I am a smart person. But anyway, so even the namings, though, of the engines are very closely based off of real things from the Tallylin. So Sir Hayden Jones was the owner of the line before the Preservation Society, and Sir Handel is the owner of the Tallylin Railway. And so they basically Audrey, staying true to it, kept most of the namings the same. So in the Skarloey Railway, there is a lake that is named Skarloey. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Okay, the Coors Railway was exactly 2'3", and Sir Hayden ran perfectly fine on 2'3". It was a little loose, but loose enough to be dangerous. And the Tallylin Railway was technically 2'3". All the rolling stock was 2'3", except for the Tallylin, which when it was modified to have trailing wheels, they were rigid. So the Tallylin, so the locomotive number 1, Tallylin or Skarloey, actually was what forced them to do the slightly over gauge. And so because of that, the Tallylin wound up being 2'3¼ which is perfectly fine for rolling stock with 2'3". But when you have an engine that is 2'2¾" on a line that's 2'3¼ and that line that's 2'3¼ is really more like 2'4" in some places, you get an engine that settles down into the middle of the track sometimes. And that's actually where the Sir Handel's steamroller wheels thing came from. Is their first solution was to have a wider tired trailing axle placed on, which helped but didn't fully alleviate the problem as the drive wheels were still a little skinny. So because of that, despite the fact that Sir Hayden was actually, to be perfectly honest, the best and easiest to work with locomotive that the railway owned, it was actually they were unable to use it until well after the Preservation Society had restored a vast majority of the line to its proper operating conditions. And because of that, Sir Hayden actually didn't get much use in the early railway, although, this is annoying. I've been chatting so long that Jenny Lynn is no longer available, but the other fast locomotive I usually use isn't quite available yet, which means that I can't put this train in. This is annoying. Well, anyway, I've got the track in, so I can set up the line, and as soon as we get new locomotives, I'll chuck the train in. But anyway, So, oh yes, Sir Hayden. So Sir Hayden had good vacuum brakes, very good suspension. It actually didn't have as good a tractive effort though as either of the Tallyland engines. It was a lighter engine, but it was of similar age. But anyway, though, because though it was a nicer. Oh no, dude, I could talk about this stuff forever. Like, it's not even that big a deal. I fully intend to run most of my railway on the 777s. They're 0420s. It's a weird engine that I picked up on the workshop, but I intend to run most of my early railway on those anyway. So it's mostly just a matter of I wasn't going to bother waiting that long because I didn't want to bore you guys waiting for an engine to unlock. But I'm perfectly happy to chat with you guys until the engine unlocks. So anyway, while I wait, I can go ahead and run the next line, which is going to connect the steelworks up to the goods factory, and then I can start shipping goods back over to my main city as soon as I get this engine. So it's a win-win. So anyway, I'm going to use this as a main line because I did transit tracks all the way back. So I think I'm going to peel off about there and then shoot off to the other end of the map. But yeah, in game, I'm financially stable enough to just slap tracks down. I can keep going and waiting for the engine. Ooh, little tunnel. I'll take a little tunnel. Little tunnels are nice. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut right the way across everything. And I'm actually gonna put in a little bridge here. So yeah, one of the things I have is, ooh, yeah, this is another one I like. This one's not good for long hauls, but this little one, the Lively Polly, it's basically just a little shunter that somebody modded in because they used that locomotive as their avatar. And they were basically saying, yeah, I don't expect anybody to ever use this. This is basically useless in the context of the game. And I saw him saying that, and I was like, what the heck are you talking about? I love having little itty-bitty shunters, and the game has none of them built in, which is really irritating. And so I was super glad to have that. But anyway, so back into the game, though, or into me discussing esoteric Tallyland lore. Yes. Because Sky is absolutely correct about the fact that having small tunnels in the middle of your line is beautiful, and his comment section is absolutely obsessed with making lewd jokes based on those tunnels. Yes, I absolutely agree. But we all know eventually if more of Sky's crew joins me, my comment section will be just as full of such things. But it's something I'm willing to accept as just a hazard of doing thing. So, anyway, but let's see. So, do you guys want me to keep going on with Tallyland lore, or yeah, I like both the. Honestly, for me, it's not so much who did the voiceover as much as who did the writing that dictates whether or not I enjoyed that portion of the series. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I started with the TV series, but I pretty quickly got hooked on the book. I'm a little too much on the young side to have started with the books, but one of the things that I got as a little kid, actually, that it's one of the prized possessions of my bookshelf. It's a big collection of Thomas stories. These oh, it's the 60th anniversary. It's a 60th anniversary collection of Thomas stuff. So, but anyway, it's all but one of the first, like, I don't know, they skip over one book for some reason. I think it was which was uh, which was, I know it skipped over one. This is gonna bother me now. I have to look it up. Thomas the Tank Engine, James the Red Engine, Tank Engine, Engine, Henry the Green Engine, Toby the Trim Engine, Gordon the Big Engine, Edward the Blue Engine, 4 Little Engines, see the Small Engine, the 8 Famous Engines, Dustin the Diesel Engine. Little Old Engines. The second Pallyland book that Wilbert Audrey wrote. That's it. Sorry, my sound did not break up because of stream quality. My sound broke up a little bit because I was leaning way over to grab something off of my bookshelf. So yeah, that is entirely a me thing, not a my internet thing. But anyway, so yeah, I'm 2002, so I grew up around like seasons 3 and 4ish, I believe. But I quickly got hooked on the other stuff. But yeah. But anyway, though, yeah. In terms of childhood things, though, I'm from the era of Cranky and Salty. But yeah, I definitely feel that after Cranky and Salty, most of the additional characters. I mean, I liked Arthur, Murdoch, and Emily. I will fully say I enjoyed those characters, but I would say that them adding those characters, and especially Murdoch, was very indicative of the negative change that came over the series. So Murdoch as a character, I loved. I will fully admit I love everything about Murdoch. Murdoch featured in a grand total of 3 episodes, one of which he was a minor role in, and one of which all he did was drove through the background. I actually looked this up because I was trying to basically pinpoint where the series went downhill. But yeah, Murdoch was the first dispensable character they added. And as you may have noticed from the fact that I am blatantly refusing in this series to darn, the 777 isn't available yet. But anyway, as you may have noticed from the fact that I don't intend to sell off any of the steam engines I get in this, I am very against disposable characters. Okay, Frankie and Salty were, I believe, either the first or some of the first non-Audrey characters to be introduced to the series. So, Frankie is a crane at Brendam Docks, and Salty is one of the first diesel engines added to the series that wasn't an Audrey original. And I think Salty was also the first diesel added that didn't have to go through some sort of a redemption arc to prove that they weren't one of those diesels that's causing trouble everywhere. But and anyway, yeah. So Salty is a diesel engine that primarily works at Brendam Docks, although his initial arc involved him showing up and being assigned to the quarry with Mavis. But anyway, so, but I said oh wait, I actually am not getting that reference. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this isn't a UK versus US version. Although maybe you're referring are you referring to a real life engine similar to Salty? Probably waiting for you to catch up. Sorry. I keep forgetting just how laggy my stream is here. But yeah, so I think Salty was added a lot like season 6-ish. Yeah, around that time, it was still Britt Allcroft running the show, but she'd gotten a little bit more crash happy in the writing, and it wasn't, a full on downhill slide, but it wasn't quite up to its full standard either. It was just decent. Oh no, yeah. But anyways, but as it, but Salty was just a originally a minor character, Dockyard Diesel. I don't think he ever became a big character, but I don't know. I really like him, but I know that's not, you know, the most popular opinion. There are definitely some people who don't like any of the additional characters, but Salty and Cranky, I wholeheartedly approve of. Oh, no, 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 no. Not a different series. Yes, Salty and Cranky are both Britt Allcroft Creations is part of Thomas and Friends. Oh, holy smokes! It is after 9 o'clock. I only meant to go until about 8. So, I don't think I will be getting to adding the train on here by the end, but I I intend to stream again after Sky's done for the rest of this, weird Corona thing, at least in America. I mean, when I go back to school, I won't really be able to do this as much, but yeah, I'm gonna have to close down for the night because I meant to do that over an hour ago, and I just kind of got going and didn't stop. So, anyway, I will, um, let's jump on Thomas. So Thomas is on this line. There's Thomas. We'll have a nice little cab ride on Thomas. Cranky. Cranky the Crane. Oh, wait. Is Frankie from Tugs? I haven't done as much with Tugs as I have with Thomas, but I recently binge watched all of the Tugs stuff just because most of the Thomas community that I'd seen also knew Tugs like the back of their hand. I was tired of not getting the references. But no, Cranky the Crane is at Random Docks in Thomas. Anyway, okay, yeah. So, yeah, if you guys want to tell other folks, I was meaning to put up a super chat and shamelessly advertise myself with Picture's beautiful voice, but as I am a high school student with no credit card, and my dad didn't want to give his credit card information to Google, that didn't wind up happening. So, but yeah, if you guys would tell anybody you know about this who you think would be interested, I said, I'm just gonna provide something for people to do after Britain shuts down. So, anyway, I'll let you guys ride Thomas both ways while I stuff my dinner down my face, and then I'll wrap this up. Yeah. Oh, where I am, 17 minutes after 9, Amber. 17 minutes after 9. And I'm trying to stick at least mostly to my schedule, so I try and be in bed by 10. So, yeah. Sorry to cut the stream. Much rather chat forever, but, I'm gonna have to cut out and see you guys later. So, bye.